And Darren, we heard there from Unite about the growing frustration. The firefighters, the FBU, saying much the same.
Yeah, they are indeed. In fact, as you can hear, they're having a pretty substantial rally here in central London. Hundreds of firefighters have gathered this afternoon. Again, much like your last or previous conversation, much of it based around paying conditions. They're saying, the leaders here, that because there's not been a substantial pay offer of an increase that takes into account the current level of inflation and the cost of living crisis, that they have failed to reach a resolution, if you like, with their employers, and that they are going to ballot for this industrial action. Now, we're not expecting this is going to pile into December, like many of the other trade unions, but it could well have an impact into the new year. And it joins a long list, doesn't it, Mark, of organisations of public sector workers who are going to go on strike, in addition to those ambulance services that we talked about at the top of the programme, affecting every single region in England, bar one, and Wales as two. Now, it's not for emergency call-outs, but still have a big impact on the 21st and 26th of December. 10,000 ambulance workers. In addition to that, we've got those rail workers going out on strike, posties, nurses, bus drivers, highway workers, driving examiners, teachers, and baggage handlers at airports. It's going to be tens and tens of thousands of days of industrial action lost. This, of course, follows the announcement yesterday from the RMT union. The main train unions say that they're going to add even more additional strike days later this month over the Christmas period, from Christmas Eve, 6 p.m, right through to the 27th of December. That now will mainly affect actual maintenance works on the railways rather than passengers, but it will have an impact if you're hoping to travel home on Christmas Eve.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about the government and what it's going to be doing. This extraordinary indication that there was no discussion at Cabinet this morning about the rail strikes in particular. And then we had the Prime Minister's official spokesman coming out and doubling down on this threat of some kind of legislation to provide minimum service across the various transport infrastructure.
Yeah, really quite extraordinary in the sense, Mark, that we were given the impression before Cabinet met this morning that rail would be discussed. You know, clearly it's having a big impact, not just on people's ability to move around this month in terms of commuting to and from work. It's going to have a big impact on other industries as well. This is one of the busiest months, if not the busiest month, for the hospitality sector, for bars and restaurants, for taxi drivers, ferrying people back and forth from Christmas parties and other gatherings. So this is going to have an enormous impact on the economy. And yet, on that official readout we got from Cabinet, it seems that it was not discussed at all. And as you say, the government continued to moot this idea that somehow they're going to try and bring in, Liz Truss initially talked about it when she was Prime Minister during that short tenure, that there is a minimal level of service, particularly in the railways, that there has to be a third of trains that run at any given time, for example, but no sign that there's any substantial movement in regards to pay, the key issue, and conditions in all of this. Now, they did meet yesterday, the trade union leaders, Mick Lynch, the RMT, with the rail body, the rail delivery group. There was a hope and expectation, actually, that a deal could be struck. In the end, it hasn't been. The unions continue to insist the government are not properly engaging with this. The government continue to say they're disappointed by it, and in the end that they cannot cave into all these pay demands simply because the government at the moment, frankly, cannot afford it.